Good afternoon from Govan, which is a neighbourhood of Glasgow. And behind me is the monument which commemorates a Scottish political activist called, let's see who it is, Mary Barber. And behind me is the Govan bus station. That was a babushka and a dziedzicka, a Scottish babushka and dziedzicka. This is the signboard which says that we are in the Govan bus station. And this is the bus station, and this is bus number 3, which goes to Drumchapel. Let's see where else we could go. We could go to Partick bus station, Castlemilk, New Victoria Hospital, Parkhead Forge, this is a shopping trolley from B&M. This is the Govan tube station, or as they call it, the subway station. And this is the Financial Services Office. And here we could see a bus stop. Over there we could see a Royal Bank of Scotland branch. And that building is the Govan Cross Shopping Centre. Over there is the Govan and Linthouse Parish Church. And this is the shopping centre. We could see the British Heart Foundation, Baines, the family bakers, Subway, Greggs, and Farm Foods. Let's check it out. What's inside Farm Foods? These are eggs, ready meals, steam meals, air fryer meals, yet again ready meals, biscuits, snacks, peanut butter and jam, breaded fish, dairy products, bread, fizzy drinks, again fizzy drinks, condiments, salt, snacks, crisps, and over there we could see shampoo, ice cream, you never know, this is Glasgow. And here we are now over the bridge called the Govan Partick Bridge. And over there are student accommodations, I think. And that's the River Clyde, the body of water. And over there we could see a great big ship. It's called the Tall Ship Glenlee. Over there we could see residential areas, people's homes. We're approaching the ship. And here we could see the ship from closer. And over there is the Riverside Museum. And here is the great big ship called the Tall Glenlee. And here we could see the writing, Glenlee, Glasgow. Excuse me. And now we're entering the Riverside Museum. This is a replica of a steam train. This is a replica of the ship called Queen Elizabeth II. And this is a replica of Queen Mary, another royal ship. This was the steam train that was used in South Africa during the apartheid regime. And this is the explanation about the locomotive, which is here in this museum. This locomotive arrived in South Africa during a period of severe political change. In 1948, the all-white government imposed a racist regime called apartheid. Apartheid separated black people from white. It dictated your job, where you lived, how you travelled, and who you could marry. It took almost all rights away from black people, including the right to vote. People who opposed apartheid faced imprisonment, torture, or worse. For black South Africans, even being in the wrong train compartment could land them in serious trouble. This is an ambulance vehicle. Cars. Arnold Clark cars. Another old car. Another old car. This is a boat, a paddling boat. This is the Bedford ambulance. Again, an old car. And this is a locomotive called the Glen Douglas. This is the Mary Hill bus. This is the Albion Venturer bus. Yet again, we could see more old cars. This is a model, a replica of an old tram. Excuse me. These are models of old trams again. These are models and toys. These are toys which children during the 20th century in Glasgow used to play with. This is the picture house. These are clothes for babies, prams for babies that they used to have in the 20th century. This is an old fire engine, and this is the replica of the current subway that we have in Glasgow. These are old motorcycles. Excuse me? Excuse me. And this is the old Glasgow Underground train. This is a replica of what Glasgow used to look like during the late 19th century. These are old bicycles. This is an old steam train. This is an old bus, if I'm not mistaken. No, old tram. And this is an old police car. An old train. Yet again, we could see old trains. An old tram over there. Over there, we could see the world's oldest bicycle. These are old ships again. This is an old bicycle. This is equipment for shipbuilding. This was the predecessor of the modern aeroplane. And from here we could see a view of many historic vehicles, old vehicles. We'll never know. This is the Riverside Museum. This is a ship called the Duchess of Hamilton. This is a traditional Maori ship, and this is the world's oldest bicycle. And this is a steam train. These are locomotives. These are advertisement boards for cruise ships. And here we could see the view of the museum from the top floor. Anchor line to Gibraltar, Egypt and India. Passenger and freight services between Glasgow, New York, Glasgow, Liverpool, Gibraltar, Suez, Port Said and Bombay. The reason why there's a Spanish flag on the ship is because the Spanish Navy purchased the ship as a training vessel in 1922 and renamed the ship Galatea, a sea nymph from the Greek mythology. And over there we could see the Spanish flag. And over there we could still see the River Clyde. And over there we could see from here, from afar, is the old parish church, if I'm not mistaken. Now I'm here inside the St. Mungo Museum of Religious Life and Art. This is a statue of St. Barbara, who is a Catholic saint. This is Ganesha, a Hindu god. These are paintings of Old Testament figures. These are ancient figurines. There's a porcelain bowl decorated with immortals from a Chinese religion called Taoism. This is an artifact belonging to the Aboriginal Australians, if I'm not mistaken. This is an image of St. John the Baptist. This is an image of the friends and the followers of Christ. This is an image of Avalokiteswara, which is a Buddhist saint, also known as Guan Yin in Chinese Buddhism. And this is an image of Lord Buddha, or the Buddha Sakyamuni. This is an Islamic prayer mat, or as people call it in Indonesia, sajadah. 3 saints, Catholic saints maybe. This is an Egyptian mummy mask. Dancing skeleton. This is a reclining Buddha. And this is a copy of the Holy Quran. And this is an Islamic prayer mat, sajadah. This is a menorah. And this is a Sikh emblem called Khalsa. This is an image of the old master, Lao Tzu. This is a mission poster, which was used by Christian missionaries who came to China. This is a statue of Joan of Arc. This is a Jewish prayer book, a book which has Siddur, which was used in a concentration camp somewhere near Auschwitz. This is a model of the Taj Mahal. This is a tombstone of Saleh Effendi, which was someone who lived during the Ottoman era. These are more artifacts. Yet again, we can see more artifacts from various cultures. This is an ancient Egyptian mummy. This is a Chinese soul house. It's a model of a Chinese tomb. This is an image of a Catholic saint. This is an image of Lord Shiva, the Hindu destroyer god. This is an image, a statue of Saint Anne with the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. Is it closing now?
Just about, yep. 5 minutes or so.
And now we're going to the exhibition gallery. Heavenly creatures. This is a chapungu bird, which is a symbol which brings protection and good fortune to the Shona people of Zimbabwe. It's a pagan symbol. But now, most Shona people in Zimbabwe are Christians. This is a model of the St. Mungo Museum. Excuse me. This is a Buddha image. This is a copy of the Holy Quran, the Quran Kareem. This is an image of Ganesha. This is a Seder plate, which is a plate which Jews eat during the festival of Pesach or Passover. This is the Sikh symbol of God, Ek Onkar, which means one God. It's closed now.
Not yet. Just getting started.
Is it closing now?
Yeah, we're just starting the local procedure now. So you'll have a few minutes before we have to.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this museum is closing. I can't be any longer. I can't be in this museum for any longer.
Next one down, allegiance sign. Next one down.
Where's the exit door?
Next one down.
Thank you.
Okay.
You use the front door, okay?
And here I am now at the Hunterian Museum. And this is the writing Hunterian Museum. These are the stairs towards the entrance of the Hunterian Museum. And this is a stained glass architecture. What do you call it? An example of stained glass architecture. Welcome to the Hunterian Museum. And this is the gate to the interior of the museum. The door, I mean. Let's check it out. Let's see why this museum is called the Hunterian Museum. Let's look at the history. Who is William Hunter? He was born near East Kilbride and educated at the University of Glasgow. He became one of the most successful physicians and obstetricians of his generation, operating a private anatomy school at Windmill Street in London from the late 1760s. During his medical training in Scotland, England, and the Netherlands, Hunter had come to understand the importance of engagement with objects. He believed that the practice of dissection, the making of anatomical preparations, and the collection and preservation of other materials would help communicate complex ideas to students. He became the first professor of anatomy at the Royal Academy in 1768, and the publication of his book, The Anatomy of the Human Gravid Uterus, 1774, was an explicit bid to ensure the immortality of his reputation. Hunter was not born into a wealthy family, but made a considerable fortune towards his work as physician extraordinary to Queen Charlotte. In common with many of his contemporaries, much of his wealth ultimately derived from Britain's contemporary global expansion and commercial ambition. And this is a picture of William Hunter. And here we could see inscriptions from the Roman era. These inscriptions were artifacts found in Scotland, although at that time Scotland was not part of the Roman Empire. Modern day Scotland, I mean. These are the distant slabs, which are inscribed stones, which celebrate the work of the legions which constructed the Antonine Wall in 142 until 143 Common Era. This wall was made of turf placed on a rubble foundation with a sloping facade. And here we could see Roman artifacts. Yet again, we could see more artifacts from the Antonine Wall. Nearly 2,000 years ago, people in Iron Age Scotland lived mainly in round houses. These were made of timber or stone, depending on the resources available, and sometimes included defences. Crannogs were built on artificial islands, while brocks are large circular towers. Wealth, power, and position came from farming. Archaeological evidence suggested that the settled wealthy tribes of central Scotland enjoyed a mutually beneficial relationship with the Romans. Many sites have produced evidence for extensive trade or gift in exchange in luxury goods. Lecky Brock, near Stirling, was home to a rich and powerful group who had access to Roman prestige goods. Excavation produced a remarkable quantity of locally manufactured items as well as Roman objects. Lecky was destroyed in 140 Common Era, probably due to Roman attack. This is another Roman artifact, the Jewel of Antiquity. These are artifacts from the era before the Romans came to Great Britain. And these are Roman coins. What is the Antonine Wall? The Antonine Wall was built around the year 142 Common Era in the reign of the Roman Emperor Antoninus Pius. It ran coast to coast across Scotland from the Clyde to the Firth of Forth. The building of the new frontier lines was the culmination of a renewed attempt by the Romans to extend their empire into what is now southern Scotland. The Romans had already attempted to overrun Scotland in the late 1st century Common Era, but by 100 Common Era, the Roman army had withdrawn to a line between the Solway and Tyne. It was here that the Empire Hadrian established a wall soon after 120 Common Era, which was to serve as the northern frontier of the Roman province of Britannia. However, scarcely 20 years later, with the accession of the new emperor Antoninus Pius, Hadrian's Wall was abandoned, and the limits of the province extended northwards into the territory known by the Romans as Caledonia. Despite this immense investment in men and materials, the new frontier was short-lived, and Roman troops may have been withdrawn from Scotland by the early 160s Common Era, after little more than 20 years of occupation. Hadrian's Wall became once again the frontier of the province until final withdrawal from the legions from Britannia in the early 5th century Common Era. And this is another artifact from the Antonine Wall, and this is the writing, the Antonine Wall, Rome's final frontier. Is it closed? This is the legacy of William Hunter, and this is the statue of James Watt. Is this closing?
We have crucified.
I'm aware of that. Thank you. This is meteorite. These are minerals. Excuse me. Rocks from space. Here we could see vertebrate evolution. Dinosaur eggs. These are dinosaurs. Dinosaur bones. And this is the replica of a dinosaur bone. These are fossils. Yet again, more fossils. More fossils again. And here we could see an axe. This is an opium pipe from China. And here I am now inside the Centre for Contemporary Arts. And here we could see a painting reflecting, I don't know. This painting depicts the culture and the cultural landscape of India, or the Indian subcontinent. This depicts a woman wearing a bindi. This depicts Indian traditional dress. This depicts a scene from Ramayana, which is one of the Hindu scriptures, the ancient Hindu text. This painting, I don't know what this is about. And here I am now, inside the Centre for Contemporary Arts. This painting is a depiction of tradition and modernity being united. We could see a woman wearing Indian traditional dress and holding a can of Pepsi. And this image or painting or whatever it is also depicts Indian culture. And this depicts a woman wearing a bindi and this depicts a woman wearing Indian traditional dress, and this is an ingredient of Indian cuisine called ghee. It's also known as minyak samin in Indonesia. This is a symbol from the Indian culture. I don't know what this symbol is about. This depicts a scene from the Ramayana, which is one of the ancient Hindu texts. And this painting, I don't know what this painting is about. And this is a vacuum cleaner. Jalsakhar. Let's look at this. This is about the culture of the Indian subcontinent or South Asian artists. Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
This is also a symbol of the culture of the Indian subcontinent. And now let's explore the Centre for Contemporary Arts upstairs. Let's further explore this art gallery. This is the ICU. This shows us about what it is like in an ICU unit in a hospital. and let's further explore this centre. And this is the club room. Excuse me, is it permissible to take pictures or videos inside? Is it allowed? And here I am now inside the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery, one of the largest art galleries in Glasgow. And here we could see the chandeliers, and over there's an organ. Over there is a mini museum. Let's explore the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. And here there's a sign saying no food or drink allowed in the galleries. This is a cannon. A 15-inch, 100-ton gun, built up in the presence of Their Majesties King George V and Queen Mary of the occasion of their visit to Parkhead, 9th of July 1914. The iron and steel industries were boosted by demand for guns and ammunition during World War I. This model gun was made in front of King George V when he visited Glasgow, and this is the model pedestal gun in 1914, made in 1914. This is a banner which was used for protests during the early 20th century, and this is an image of the protests. Throughout the 20th century, Glasgow became the centre of socialist politics, including many trade unions campaign. One of the most famous was a rent strike led by women, 1915 until 1916, where tenants refused to pay hugely inflated rents, preventing rent increases during World War I. In 1919, the 40-hour strike was called by shipbuilding and engineering workers, desperate for shorter working hours. During a massive demonstration of workers in George Square, revolution was feared. To prevent it, the government put the army on standby. This is the banner. And this is, This is a description of why did Glasgow become the workshop of the empire. Money. Glasgow merchants reinvested their profits into various industries. This section of the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery is called the Glasgow Stories. And this section has artifacts from the 12th century until 21st century. And this is an explanation about why did Glasgow become the workshop of the empire. Due to money, the Glasgow merchants reinvested their profits in various industries. Raw cotton, which was imported from North America and the Caribbean to Glasgow, which was spun into cotton thread. Ironstone, which was mined in the central belt of Scotland and extracted to make pig iron used in wrought iron and steel. And coal, where there was a plentiful supply of coal around Glasgow to power the furnaces which made the iron and steel used in heavy engineering goods. And this is proof that Glasgow was a prosperous city during the Industrial Revolution. This painting has been removed There was thriving arts and industry during the Industrial Revolution in Glasgow. Technology and transport. This is a ship called the SS Southern Cross. This is the tram. This is a description of what life was like during Victorian Glasgow. Glasgow was a big and bustling city. During Queen Victoria's reign, from 1837 to 1901, it became a great industrial city, a centre for banking and commerce, as well as a trading port, an economic powerhouse. It saw itself as second city of the empire, reflecting how closely linked its prosperity was with the expansion of the British Empire.
Architectural fragments probably from the Glasgow Cathedral.
And these are artifacts from the era before the Protestant Reformation.
That's the biggest tree stump you've ever seen. I wonder where it came from.
That is a billion butterflies. All the same.
This is a description of Scots people who travelled abroad. Scots have always been great travellers, and as a result of the collections reflect many different parts of the globe. David Livingstone's collection was donated in 1877. Robert Bruce's collection of Torres Strait Islander art and the Manley collection of insects are both world renowned. Objects like these help us to learn about other countries and places, giving us a different view of Glasgow in relation to the rest of the world. This is a carving of St. Catherine of Alexandria. And this is a painting of Archibald MacLellan. These are artifacts from the 13th century. And now we're entering a new section of the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. This section has artifacts from ancient Egypt, let's explore the ancient Egypt section of this art gallery. And here we can see artifacts from ancient Egyptian tombs, here we can see figurines, more artifacts from the ancient Egypt era, again more artifacts from the ancient Egypt era, these are inscriptions with hieroglyphic writing, because the writing system during the era of ancient Egypt was written in hieroglyphics. And here we can see more inscriptions, and from here we know that people's lives during the era of ancient Egypt are revealed through death. These are figurines of the gods of the living and the dead, according to the ancient Egyptian mythology. Excuse me. And this is another section. This section tells us about the prehistory of the world. And here we could see a dinosaur bone, a model of a dinosaur, I mean. Another dinosaur bone. Here we can see more fossils. Fossils. This is a drawing, an annotation of dinosaur bones. This is a dinosaur footprint. These are trails and tracks of prehistoric animals. These are, what do you call them? Fossilized feces of dinosaurs. This is a footprint of ancient, not ancient, what do you call it? Prehistoric animals. This is a footprint of a prehistoric animal. Again, we could see more fossils of prehistoric animals. And this is a tiger. This is a tiger. A hippopotamus. These are extinct animals. And this is the dodo bird, which was the what do you call it? The endemic bird of Mauritius, which had gone extinct hundreds of years ago. These are guns used for hunting. Excuse me. These are, what do you call it? Skins, results of poaching. These are the animals which have gone extinct after the end of the Ice Age. This is a reindeer. This is the Arctic brown bear and a wild boar. These animals are not yet extinct, whereas this section of the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery is about science. This explains about the origins of nature, or the origins of living creatures. And there is an explanation that living creatures came from one big family. It is estimated that the last common ancestor between amoebas and human beings existed around 3.8 billion years ago. Since then, a huge variety of life has evolved. The specimens in this case are just a tiny example of life on Earth. This section shows us the adaptation of living creatures to their habitat. These are equipments for laboratory use. This section is about the wildlife of Scotland. And here we could see many animals, models of many animals, which are endemic, not all of them, which occupy the wildlife of Scotland. These are animals which occupy the wildlife of Scotland. This is a deer. These are summer birds. These are winter birds. And here we can see more species of animals from around the world, and these are African animals. This is a gazelle. These are lemurs, which are endemic animals in Madagascar. These are animals which we often see in zoos. This is an ostrich, a giraffe, a crocodile, a cheetah, excuse me, and this is a seal. These are penguins. Albatrosses. And this is an elephant. Not an elephant, but two elephants. These are Asian animals. A tiger, a sloth bear,